Hello, everyone. Welcome to my live stream. Just trying to go on live to Instagram also. Hello, everyone. Yes, so I'm live. If you can, if you're joining in, just say hello to me. I'd like to know where you're watching from. If you could leave a comment, letting me know where you are watching from. That would be really, really good. My name is Blessing Ekundayo. Welcome to my live stream. I'm live on, I'll just pause this so that you can hear me clearly. I'm live on the Facebook page, my Facebook page, not page actually, Facebook group, Relationship and Health Matters. We do share at my Facebook group. If you're watching there, just let me know. Say hello. I can see some comments coming through. Hello, hi. Unfortunately, I'm unable to see your names because you're saying hello from my Facebook page. So it just says Facebook user, but I can possibly see this on my. I'll just reduce the volume. Yeah, so I may be able to see your names better from this other device. So thank you for joining in. I can see my husband also. Thank you, love. I appreciate you. On Instagram, I'm live also. Thank you. This is my first time doing an Instagram live. I thought I should come on to Instagram also. So thank you for joining on. I'm on Relationship and Health Matters. We do the show, our Facebook group. I'm also on my Facebook profile. I'm live on my Facebook profile, and I'm live on my YouTube channel also, Relationship and Health Matters. We do the show. That's my YouTube channel. So thank you everyone for joining in. I can see where you're called. Yes, from Nigeria, from Merotin, Lagos. Thank you. If you're on Instagram, thank you, Blessing. Thank you. I'm looking beautiful. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining in. Today we're going to be talking about critical questions to ask before you get married. Critical questions to ask before you get married. So before I start, I'd like you all to please like this post wherever you're watching from. Like it, comment, okay, share with someone, share it on your timeline. If you're watching on Facebook, share on your timeline. If you're watching on my YouTube channel, share to your friends. If you're watching on Instagram, feel free to share it on your story. Share it to a friend that or friends that you think will need these critical questions to ask before you get married. Okay, I'll try and make it short and sweet so that we don't stay here for too long. All right, critical questions to ask before you get married. So if you're joining me, please let me know where you are watching me from. My name again is Blessing Ekundayo. By God's grace, I'm a certified marriage mentor and relationship coach. I'm also a psychiatry registrar. I'm based here in New Zealand with my family, my wonderful husband, and my 2 boys, to the glory of God. I'm also the convener of the Facebook group, Relationship and Health Matters. We do the show. And if you have not joined my group yet, please join the group. We're about 7,000 in that Facebook group. And God's mandate upon our lives is to help, build people, men and women, who are going to be able to shine the light of Christ, in their relationships, in their marriage, and through their healthy living. And so there we share lots of beautiful information that's going to help each and every one of us. All right, so we're going to get straight on into it. I'm hoping that we can have, a very interesting discussion. So feel free to leave comments, drop your questions. I'd like to know what you think. If you have questions, we're talking about something very, very critical, very important. And why are we talking about critical questions to ask before you get married? You see, marriage is something that many singles they're so excited about and they are rushing into it. Unfortunately, recent statistics, especially in the US, tells us that divorce is on the high rate. It's rampant these days. As much or as many people you find so many people going into marriage, and there are so many people also who are getting divorced. Sadly, statistics tell us that about every 42 seconds one person is divorcing every 42 seconds. So in 1 hour, you have 86 divorces already in 1 hour. Yes, these are real recent statistics in the US. And so I'm sure it breaks my heart to hear all of those. And I'm sure that, it breaks God's heart also. God who created, who ordained marriage, that divorce was never part of his plan, I believe. And so today we are going to be talking about, critical questions to ask your partner, to ask your loved one, to ask your intended spouse, to ask your fiance, to ask your fiance, before you do get married. Because they did a research and they found out that out of people that they asked, 41% of people who were asked why they ended up in divorce, one of the things they wrote as answers was lack of preparation for marriage. And part of preparing for marriage is asking these pertinent questions. Many people prepare so much for their wedding. You see people preparing for my wedding gown has to be this, this kind of spec, this my tuxedo, it has to be on point, it has to be this, my bridal party, my everything. We prepare so hard for a wedding that would last probably a few hours, maybe a couple of hours or so. But we have little or no preparation. Maybe make little or no preparation for a marriage that would last their lifetime, because that's what marriage is supposed to be. You're supposed to spend the rest of your life with that person, and the preparation that goes into it is really, really poor. There's a saying that goes, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Yeah. And that also is related to marriage also. And so it's important to prepare very well, right, before we go into marriage. Yes, I see that comment. Divorce was never part of God's plan. I might be looking at the comments here, so that, because I can't really see your names through on stream yet, unfortunately. But yeah, that's fine. So please continue to drop your comments as you are being blessed, and drop a question. Okay, yeah, critical questions to ask before you get married. All right, so we'll go straight into it. Number one, and can I just say that by God's grace, I believe that this is going to help a lot of singles, especially Christians. Okay, I'm sharing from biblical perspectives, and also I'm going to share my own experiences too. But by God's grace, I've been married for about 9 years. We're going to 10 years, to the glory of God. And I'm hoping that I will be able to help inspire, and put you on the right track. I'm going to be skipping some questions that I believe that if you are dating a person, basic questions that you need to ask, while you are dating. I would be skipping those things, and I'll be moving on to things that I believe that if you are in a serious relationship headed for marriage, for example, if you are in courtship, especially, so you know that you're in a relationship with this person and you intend to marry this person, you are wanting to marry this person. These are questions that you must ask. You mustn't go into marriage, without asking, because many people end up just spending time going for dinners, going for lunch, going for dates, going for all sorts of things without asking the right questions. And then you are in the marriage, you're now faced with reality, and you are in shock. You are shocked, like, oh my God, what did I get married to? It's important to ask these questions. All right, so let's dive straight into it. Number one question that you need to ask that person that you're in a relationship with, that you are courting, that you want to get married. And if you're not in a relationship, these are questions that you need to bear in mind. Okay, they're questions that you need to have at the back of your mind before you dive in. And if you do not have a pen and a notebook, please get a pen and a notebook, not a paper, because you're going to throw the paper away after some time. So please get a pen and a notebook, which you can refer to later, in a few months, in a few weeks, in a few years, okay, whatever the case may be. So the first question you would ask that person is, what are your views about marriage? That's question number one. What are your views about marriage? What are your views about marriage? All right. So somebody is asking a question. What is the difference between dating and courtship? Does dating necessarily mean someone is courting? Okay. I mean, my last video on YouTube, my YouTube channel, Relationship and Health Matters with Joshua. That's the name of my YouTube channel. I talked extensively about dating and courting. So you probably need to go there. But in a nutshell, Dating is when you are having, conversations, the period of time where you're having conversations with someone, for the idea or the potential of possibly checking out whether that person is suitable for marriage. Okay, so you're having conversations, you're trying to get to know the person. You ask questions like, what's your name, what's your background like, what kind of job do you do, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now, basic questions. Yeah, are you born again? So just to see whether that person could be a potential person that you could get married to. Okay, you could get into a very serious relationship with. Okay, all right. So that's dating, right? Whereas courting is when you're actually very intentional about the relationship. So both of you are in it because you are headed for marriage. Okay, you're not checking whether you're compatible anymore. You've already checked for compatibility, right? But during courtship, you're both sure that this relationship is headed for marriage, right? We are sure that we are going to get married. Okay, there's a higher chance or higher percentage or higher likelihood. We're not testing the waters. We are sure that we are headed for marriage when we are courting each other. Okay, and at least more people are involved, family is involved, they know that these people, they are an item. Okay, they are planning to get married. All right, whereas dating, you're just trying to see, okay, can we work together? Let me just know this person. Okay, I hope that question is answered. Let me know if you have an understanding. But that, in a nutshell, that's what it is. Okay, but I've talked extensively on my YouTube channel about dating and courting, right? So the first question is, what are your views about marriage? We live in a world today where many people have all sorts of ideologies, all sorts of views, all sorts of understandings, about marriage. Some people think that marriage is just a piece of paper. I mean, it's not a big deal. Some people believe in open marriages, for example. That's the world we live in today. I don't know how many of us know what open marriage is. Do we know what open marriage is? Open marriage is basically when you are in a relationship with someone. You're not in a relationship, you're married to this person, right? You're married to someone, but in that relationship, both of you have agreed, to still have sexual relationship with other people in the marriage. So you still have sexual partners, that both of you know. Okay, so I'm married, but I have somebody who I'm still seeing, and my husband knows that I'm seeing this person, my wife knows I'm still seeing this person, and people are happy. People are happy, both parties are happy with that kind of marriage. So some people think that that is okay, right? And it baffles me that, in the world that we live in today, things that are like abnormal, they are becoming normal. They used to be abnormal back in those days, right? And it's not the standard of God. So it's important to ask, what are your views about marriage? What do you think marriage is all about? Okay, some people think that marriage is just like a contract. For example, you could be in a relationship with someone that, okay, the person thinks marriage is a contract. If this is not working anymore, well, I'm packing my bags, I'm going. Like, I cannot come and kill myself. I cannot come and kill myself. Some people think that's what marriage is all about. But marriage is something that's very, very serious. It's something you don't go into without actually understanding it. And why it's important to ask this question is because you want to be sure that you and the other person that you want to get married to are on the same page. You have the same understanding. If you are in it for till death do us part, that person is also in it till death do us part. Okay, if that person is not really in it, then there is no point. Okay, there's no point trying to commit the rest of your life with someone who is not ready to actually walk, the long haul with you, right? So I'll quickly like to define, marriage in a not I mean my own understanding of marriage based on some of the books I've read, things I have, messages I've listened to. And one of the this definition actually comes from it was inspired by a book I read from Tony Evans' Kingdom Marriage, and he defined marriage as I would like to define it, marriage as a covenant union. If you've got a pen and a paper or a notepad or something, I will encourage you to type, because you need this. It needs to sink into your heart, and continue to ring the bell in your mind, right? It's a covenant union between a man and a woman who are committed to work together under the authority of God in order to expand God's kingdom by dominating their world through their individual and joint purposes. Okay, I'm going to say that again. What is marriage? Marriage is a covenant union between a man and a woman who are committed to work together under the authority of God, right? In order to expand his kingdom by dominating their world through their individual and joint purposes. Thank you, Blessing, for sharing my YouTube handle. God bless you. All right. So, um, going forward, that is what marriage. That is, it's God's idea. God is the one that originated marriage. And so, if you are going to enjoy marriage, if you're going to have a successful marriage, if you're going to have a marriage that is fulfilling in life, right? It has to be done God's way. And if you're going to go into marriage with somebody else, make sure that that person believes what you believe about marriage in order for that marriage to be a success. Right. So to start with, marriage is a covenant. It's not a contract. Many people go into marriage with the mindset of contract and they have their terms and conditions. No, that's not God's idea. Marriage, it requires commitment. It requires dedication. It requires both of you to work together as a team. So it's for better, for worse. No matter what is going on, I'm not going to leave my husband. I'm not going to leave my wife because we have crisis, because we can't have children, or because something terrible is happening to us, or whatever it is. We are in it together. We are committed to walk this journey together, no matter what come what may. See, I like a lot of times we have people go into marriage with just enjoyment mentality. And if I cannot enjoy my life, then I'm getting out. See, marriage is it's a lot of work, and that's the reality of marriage. So if many people go into marriage with unrealistic expectations, thinking that it's just a bed of roses, no, you must be ready to walk in that marriage. It requires commitment, it requires dedication between two of you, and so make sure that you're going into marriage with someone who you can work together with. All right, make sure the person both of you can function under the authority of God. And that's why it's important that you do not yoke yourself with somebody who is not a believer. As a believer, if you want to enjoy marriage the way God, designed, or the way God desires that you enjoy marriage, it's important that you do not yoke yourself with somebody else who does not believe what you believe spiritually, because spiritual compatibility is key. And that's what one of the things that you need to check. While you are dating, are we spiritually compatible? Is somebody getting me? Thank you, Blessing. Marriage is a commitment. Yes, it's very, very important. Marriage is a commitment, not a contract. Both of you must be ready to function under the authority of God. Ladies, do not submit yourself. Do not put yourself under a man who is not submitted to the authority of God, because you'll make your life very, very miserable. Thank you, Jenny with Jesus. I see you. I see you. Thank you for joining in. So it's very, very critical. You don't want to marry somebody who you will spend time praying, hey, God, please change my husband's heart and make him to become born again. You don't want to spend time praying, oh, God, please make my wife born again. You don't want to spend time praying prayers that will be that's at time wasting, because you got yourself involved into that mess. Marry a prayer partner. Don't marry a prayer point. I want someone to type that. Marry a prayer partner. Don't marry a prayer point. So both of you are ready to join hands together and be on fire for God. You want to fulfill purpose together. There is work to do in marriage. God has something for you. God has a work for you in marriage to do. And so my point is, marry somebody who has the same views about marriage as yourself. Okay, I would like to quickly move on to the next point because we don't have much time. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you 8 points, 8 questions that you need to ask. Okay, and can I just say that the questions I'm going to be asking, all of these questions are in this book, right? My book. Are we compatible? 65 important questions to ask before you get married. Very, very important book. You need to get it. It's available on Seller. It's available on Amazon. Okay, it's available on Okada Books, soft copy and hard copies on Amazon. Okay, I'm getting all the questions I'm sharing with you today. They are all in this book. Okay, I'm only sharing about 8 of them from the 65 questions I've got in this book. All right. Someone is asking, Nifemi is saying, in a situation that you are already married and have tried all you could to make him change, what do you do? Depends on what you are trying to do to make him change. Is it a habit? Is it, I don't know what it is that you want him to change. A lot of times, and that's the thing. I'll come to that question, but before I come to the question, singles, do not get married to somebody who you cannot. If somebody has a habit, for example, that you cannot deal with, okay, you can't stand this behavior, right? For example, say the person has a smoking habit or a drinking habit, for example. don't think that the person will change when he gets married or when she gets married. No, those people do change. The change does not happen just because they got married. If somebody already cheats on you or has a cheating behavior, don't think that marriage is going to change the person. And don't think that you can change the person. You cannot change anybody. Singles, you cannot change anybody who is not willing to change, right? It's only God that can change a person. And so when you eventually get married to someone who you cannot stand, I don't know, whatever it is, Nifemi, that you're talking about, the person is already married and you're trying to, you want the person to change a particular behavior, a particular pattern, a particular habit, it's important that, you say you've tried, or you could, I'm assuming that you have spoken to the person. Maybe I don't know if you've tried speaking to other people who can talk to the person. That could be a way of helping, somebody else, a third party, who you have confidence in, who you think you can be vulnerable with, who you think that other person also can be accountable to, can submit to, would listen to. If that could be an avenue, that person could be like your pastor, for example. Your pastor could be someone who could speak on your behalf, okay, to that person also, okay. And if it could also require you going to see a counselor, a marriage counselor. Sometimes that also helps. That kind of person can also intervene. At the end of the day, also, I would encourage you to also don't stop there. Pray. There is nothing that prayer cannot do. Prayer changes so many things beyond your own imagination, also. Okay, and it depends on your approach also of how you have been, dealing with this. Could it be that you have been nagging about it? Could it be that you have been shouting about it? Could it be that you have, I don't know what you have done already. Yeah, yeah. So I would encourage you, say you've gone for therapy, but it's still the same. I will encourage you to keep praying. There are some things, there are some crosses that you may have to, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that you're dealing with, but there are some crosses that you have to carry in marriage. Okay, with prayer, God answers prayers. And continue. That's all I would encourage you. Continue to pray. Continue to seek help. And change your approach. If you've been nagging, if you've been talking, just change your approach, and get help, get other forms of help that you can get. All right. And I pray that God will intervene in your situation in the mighty name of Jesus. All right. So I'll quickly move on to what I was talking about. Yeah, that's question number one. I think I've dealt enough on question number one. Okay. Thank you for the questions. Keep them coming. It helps us to be interactive. Okay. I don't want to talk at you. I want us to have a chat. All right. So keep the questions coming in. Second question is, how do you see money, and how do you think money should be handled in marriage? That's the second question you need to ask the person you're in a relationship with, headed for marriage. How do you see money? How do you think money should be handled in marriage? See, the money issue is one major cause of disagreement, of argument, of misunderstanding, of divorce in marriage. And it's important to ask those questions, right? The way I see money is different from the way my husband sees money. And the way we see money is based on so many things. It could be our background, what we have seen our parents do, what we have seen people do, what we have heard, how money should be handled in marriage. You want to find out from the person, what does money mean to you? How do you spend money, right? I'll quickly talk briefly about, I don't know if we are familiar with the money languages. The way we have love languages. Do we know our love languages? I'm assuming we know all the love languages, right? Yeah. Yes or no? Yes or no? I want it to be that interactive. I don't want to talk at you guys. Okay. I can see, I know, I see you guys online. So we know the love languages, right? So we have money languages. We have money languages also, just the same way we have love language. So it's important that you know your own money language, right? And they have, yes, thank you for responding. They have about 4 of them. Okay, you have people who are called the driver, for example. Okay, drivers, for them, money is success. And so if you're marrying that kind of person, just know that the person is going to go for the next big job, next big salary, next is money, 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 money. You may be in Nigeria today, the person says, okay, we're going to Canada, that's the next big salary. You're in Canada for 1 year or 2 years. Next place, we're going to Australia. Okay, that's the next big. And you're like, wait, why are we chasing money? For them, money is success. Okay, money gives them security. Money is everything to them, right? And so if you're marrying that kind of person, have an understanding that this person may be someone who could end up being, materialistic. Okay, that's the weakness of such kind of people. On the other hand, some people see money, they are analytics. Okay, we call them analytics. That's their money language. And this kind of people, they they are tight-fisted when it comes to money. Okay, they are savers. They don't like to spend money anyhow. They are very, very tight. Right. So my husband is an analytic. And sometimes we have misunderstandings with our how we manage our finances as a result of that, because I'm an amiable. That's a third money language. I'm an amiable. I like to spend money freely. Okay. For me, I like to spend money. We live this life only once. We cannot come and kill ourselves. We enjoy life, right? So that is me. Okay, and the fourth money language is expressive. This kind of people, for them, money, they use money as a form of acceptance to be in groups, to be accepted in groups. If you have that kind of woman, a woman that is an expressive, she'll buy ashwabi like every weekend, spending all your money. So you want to know what their money language is. Okay, what money means to them. You want to know, how much does this person earn, how much do they earn. Okay, do we have enough to be able to, that will be able to manage, a home with. You want to know what they do for a living, definitely, and how much they earn. If you cannot tell your intended spouse how much you earn, then I'm going to be worried. Why can't you share? Why don't you want to be vulnerable? Why are you not being transparent about your finances? Is there something that's not making you to trust the other person? All right. So you want to ask those questions. You want to find out if they are in debt, how much debt. In this part of the world, people go to university and they have lots of student loan debt. Okay. You want to know, how did they acquire those debts? Is it because they have been very, very terrible in their spending? Okay, some people are very wasteful spenders. Is that why they have acquired so much debt? And if you're going to get married to this person, find out also, how are we going to pay the debt? Does the person expect that you will pay the debt together, or is it going to be the person's cross only? You want to ask those important questions. You want to find out who is going to be responsible to manage the finances. Who is going to, do we believe in joint account, single account? I can see a question. What's your take on joint account in courtship? Is it advisable, biblical, and safe? I don't know about joint account in courtship. Why would you want to have a joint account in courtship? You're not married to this person yet, okay? So don't commit your finances to the hands of the person, right? I think anything joint comes after marriage. If you want to have a joint account, I would encourage you. I would advise that it starts when you are married to the person, when you start carrying the person's last name, or when both of you have become one flesh. Okay, so in courtship, you're not yet married. Okay. Courtship is not marriage. Anything can still happen in courtship. Okay. There are many people who end up breaking that relationship, that courtship, and it doesn't end into marriage. Okay. Courtship is just a period where both of you get to know each other deeply, preparing for marriage, right? So while you're in courtship, it's an opportunity for you to discuss finances. Okay, it's not the time for you to begin to do joint accounts, right? Unless both of you are business partners and you have a business plan or whatever it is. But in terms of having a joint account and working together as a family, as one, that should come ideally after both of you are married. So you don't have stories that touch your heart. Oh, you took my money and when we broke up, blah 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 blah. But the important thing is, talk about it. Okay, I would encourage you to have. I would say, go have an understanding that when both of you are married, okay, it shouldn't be my money, his money. It should be our money, okay? And however both of you decide to spend or allocate the money or whatever it is, okay, have an understanding that the money I'm earning, it's not just my money, because I'm now married. The money my husband is earning, not just his money, it is our money, and we have a way of sharing it. Let's talk about a bit about joint account. I know it can be a major issue, and it's in many homes today, right? And a lot of singles also struggle with joint accounts, and that could be as a result of what they have gone through or what they've seen their parents go through. If you've grown up in a background or in a family where your father or your mother was probably a wasteful spender and the other person was a conservative person, people like an analytic, and you've seen them fight, seen them argue, seen them struggle, seen them, have lots of terrible misunderstandings as a result of, someone's mismanagement of funds, then definitely you would have at the back of your mind that, oh my God, when I want to get married, I must be very tight fisted with my money. My money is my money. I'm not going to share my money with my spouse and things like that. So if you're coming already into marriage with that kind of understanding, that kind of mentality, you'll be very scared, to want to share your funds. And it's important to deal with that. Find out why that person is scared. Find out if you can. Can both of you work together? Can you reach a compromise? Because at the end of the day, if you cannot share your money with someone who you're going to get married to, but you're able to share, you're sharing your life, you're committing your life to that person. Like, how do you handle how do you do marriage that way? I mean, if you both don't want to do a joint account, like for example, I'll give you an example, my own personal experience. When I was getting married, I wanted to have a joint account. My husband wanted to. But when we got married, we realized that it was very tough. Okay. For me, I like to be free to spend money. I like to buy stuff for myself. And my husband is the type that is very tight fisted with money. I have clothes in my wardrobe, but I'm tired of wearing these clothes. I want a new wardrobe, new clothes. And my husband is like, what do you mean? Like, you want to buy new clothes? I just not clothes in, in the wardrobe. And I'm like, no, those clothes, I don't like them anymore. I want new clothes. And we begin to have misunderstandings and, unnecessary arguments as a result of this. So what we ended up doing, I'll tell you what we ended up doing. Even though we still have a joint account where our monies go into, okay, and that joint account we have, we have lot, we budgets and we do lots of, we disburse our funds for this, funds for that, and all of that, okay, from our joint account. We now have what we have. We still have our personal account, okay, where we give ourselves money. We call it pocket money, okay, and we have our personal savings. So whatever I want to buy with my own money, like my own, pocket money, I am free to do. And the same with him, okay? Even though we are still accountable, even though it's still our money, we're still accountable. So I would not just spend money anyhow, but it brings understanding and peace in the home. Okay. So it's important that both of you have an understanding, about how you want to spend the money in the home. But the mentality of my money, your money should not be there. It should be our money because we are now married. Okay. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Annie Fowoshi Ruth Okpemi. Right. So going back to question number two, right? Your views about money, right? You want to find out, does this person have, what are their views about investments? Okay. Do they believe in investing? Some people don't believe in investing. You want to find out. You want to find out also, do they have financial obligations? For some people who are maybe like firstborns, for example, you may be the ones sending your brother, your younger ones to school, and then when you get married, what are the expectations of your spouse? What are the expectations of your spouse? You want to know those financial obligations, right? Do they believe in extra sources of income? I remember when we first of all got married, my husband was very skeptical about businesses. He didn't believe, he was like, let's not do business because he's had experiences back in the days, and also with his parents, business didn't go well. So he was very, very he struggled with starting up any business at all. He didn't believe in business as a result of that, but things have changed now. The thing about marriage, can I just say that in marriage, you should be open to learning, relearning, and unlearning. Okay. If you're not open to unlearning some things that you have, that some things that you have, grown up with, some understandings, and relearning some new, some new things, some new, gaining some new knowledge, some new insights, you will just be sort of boxed in this, small world. And it's going to be a struggle. Okay. So these are some of the things that you want to ask your spouse, your intended spouse. The financial questions. Okay. How do you see money and how do you think that money should be handled in marriage? Right. So because of time, I'll quickly move on to the next question. Next question is, what is your understanding of sex in marriage? What is your understanding of sex in marriage? Okay. If we have other questions, keep them coming in. What's your understanding of sex in marriage? And this is very critical. Sex is one of the major causes of divorce in marriages today, especially in a Christian marriage, where we don't talk a lot about this topic, and many people just sort of die in silence. We come to church, we lift up holy hands, but deep down we are sad, we are heartbroken, we feel, many couples are frustrated, we disappointed, because they realize that they're actually not sexually compatible in that marriage, and this is one of the questions you must ask. There should be no question that you cannot ask someone who you intend to commit the rest of your life with in marriage. Like, it should not be. It should not be. And so you want to find out what's their understanding of sex, what's their expectation of sex in marriage, what's their idea of sex in marriage. On my YouTube channel, I think some weeks ago, I talked about, let's talk about sexual compatibility. Sexual compatibility. It's important to talk about, and I talked extensively about sexual compatibility and some of the questions that you need to ask, before you get married regarding sexual compatibility. So you want to find out, what do they think. See, even no matter how holy we think we are, right? So we've read books, we've watched TV, movies, we've read the book of Songs of Solomon, right? Okay, so we have an expectation. Somehow we have an expectation what we think, no matter how myopic it is, we have an expectation of what we think sex should be all about in marriage. Okay, at this point in time, I would want to encourage you, as many of you that are online now, please share this video. Okay, like, share, and make a comment. Okay, like, share, and make a comment. If you're being blessed, let me know that you're being blessed, right? If you still have something on your mind that is bothering you that you would like to ask or check, feel free. This is your opportunity to ask the question. Okay, and thank you so much for joining me. All right, so share this video, like, and comment, okay, wherever it is that you're watching from, because somebody may see it and be blessed, by watching it, right? So we're talking about sexual compatibility, right? What do they think about sex? How often do they think it should be? Some people think that sex should only be had, some people once a year. They think it is just for procreation. After all, it's just for us to, get pregnant and have children. And once we have that, that's the end. Move on to the next year or to the next season. Whereas your own ideology might be, we should have sex at least 2 times a day. Now, tell me, how do you want to, how are you going to live in that marriage or be in that marriage without being frustrated? You want it twice a day at least, and you're getting married to somebody who wants it once a year. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be very, very hard. All right. Especially if this person is not willing, it's not amendable to, reaching a compromise. It's not amendable to changing their mindset. It's very fixated. It's very rigid about their belief, their thinking. It's going to be very hard. And many times when people are in marriages where they are struggling and they are pushed to cheating on their spouses because they are frustrated, their sexual needs are not being met in that marriage. So you want to ask this critical question, what do you think about sex in marriage? How often, what are your what do you think about masturbation? What do you think about pornography? What do you think about, sex toys? What are your sexual fantasies? Some people, they want to have sex on top of the roof. Like, are you ready? Are you ready for that? Some people have wild sexual fantasies. There is nothing that you shouldn't be able to do when you're married to someone. Okay, but my point I'm trying to make is make sure that both of you have the same idea. Some people have weird fantasies, about threesome things that you wonder, oh my goodness. But it's important to talk about those things and see if both of you can agree. Bible says in Amos 3:3, can two work together except they agree? Right. So it's important that you ask this question. Ask this question. Very, very critical. Somebody's asking a question. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for all you are doing. I would like to ask what you understand about open communication between couples. Like, one person loves talking about everything and the other person is mute. Does it make sense to compatibility? So, it's interesting about compatibility. Okay, so compatibility basically doesn't mean that both of you are the same. It just means the ability for you to get along. Okay, and it's interesting. It's an interesting question because when people get attracted to each other, opposites attract. So the quiet person is attracted to somebody who talks a lot, like, oh my gosh, this person is so different from me. And the person that talks a lot is attracted to the person who is quiet. Oh my goodness, this is someone that listens. So we are usually attracted to someone who is different from us. Okay, someone who has the qualities that we don't have. But unfortunately, this same thing that attracted us, that made us get married, when we now get married, it begins to put us off. Like, why are you not talking? Why not? Whereas that is what attracted you in the first place. Okay, so the question is, does it make sense to compat? It does. It does make sense to compatibility. It does make sense. But what you need to realize is this is you need to also be able to accept the person for who the person is. Okay, realize that this person is a quiet person. I'm talkative. He's a quiet person. So can I man? Am I okay? Am I happy to spend the rest of my life, with this person's behavior? With this person's attitude, right? And sometimes even though the person is mute, communication is not just about talking. It's also about body language. There are many ways people communicate, even in their unsaid words, right? There are many messages that people are passing across, whether even when they are not talking. Sometimes even when you're not talking, you are still talking. If when you're not talking, you're still talking. Okay. So yes, it does make sense with compatibility, right? But if you're going to get married to such a person, then you need to realize that this is who this person is. Okay, can I handle this for the rest of my life? And if it's a yes, then thumbs up. If it's a no, then that's a red flag. Okay. But don't think that you could go into marriage and change the person. But yeah, I hope I answered your question, Miriam, Annie. All right, so that's that. All right, so you want to talk about what they think about yeah, sex before you get married to the person. Next question, number 4, because we are almost running out of time, is ask about previous relationships and trauma. Okay, before they met you, they could have met, who knows, a dozen other people. Okay, could have been in a relationship with a dozen other people. So you want to find out, have you been in relationships before? If yes, what happened? What led to the breakups of those relationships? Was it you that broke it up? You broke it up. Why did you break it up? Was it, what led to it? You want to know what happened in each of those relationships. It's important that people are vulnerable. I love the fact that when I was dating my husband, he was very vulnerable with his previous relationships with me, and I found that very, very attractive, to be honest. For me, I didn't even ask him. He divulged the information. He divulged the information to me without asking. I felt that this was someone who was willing to spend the rest of his life with me, irrespective of what he had gone through or whatever. I was not there to judge him, or whatever. I was there to just listen, and it meant a lot to me, to be honest. Yeah, so I think that is important to be honest. What happened in the relationship. Have you ever been married before? And even if, before I get to, have you been married before, even if you have not been in a relationship before, or that person has not been in a relationship before, you want to find out why has the person not been in a relationship before? Was it because, whatever, of circumstances, of, their mindset, of what happened? Why have you not been in a relationship before? You want to know. You want to know whether or not they have been married before. Very important question. Many people, even though they are young and they look like, nothing has happened, they could have been married before. So someone could have been in Nigeria, got married, and relocated abroad, and you met the person abroad, but the person is married in Nigeria, but you don't know. And the person is trying to get, maybe green card in the US to get married. So you want to find out, have you been married before? At this juncture, please get my book. Okay, are we compatible? 65 important questions to ask before you get married. Okay, it's available on Seller, on Amazon, on Okada Books. Right. Everything I'm sharing today, it's in this book and more, right? So you want to find out, have they been married before? Have they been in a relationship before? Do they have children? Ask this question. Do they have children? Some people already have children that, they're not even catering for. You could find a guy who has children, or who has a child, from a previous relationship that he has abandoned. Okay, so you want to find out, do you have children? Are you responsible for those children? What do you do how do you meet the needs of those children? You want to find out, right? Very, very important. I want to find out if they've, in regards to their previous relationships, are they still in contact with the ex? Some people are still keeping in touch with their with their ex regularly. What kind of relationship do they have with their ex? Right? You want to know. Okay. Are we being blessed? Are you getting anything? I can see that you're online, but are you being blessed? Okay. I want you to let me know in the comment section. Okay. Are you being blessed? Are you learning a thing or two from what I'm sharing with you today? Okay. And don't forget to please like this video, share this video with your friends, share it on your timeline, please. Okay. So you want to find out about their previous relationships. You want to find out if they're still in contact with their ex. What kind of relationship do they have with their ex? Why are you still in contact with your ex? You want to know. You want to find out what if they've been through traumatic experiences in their past. See, trauma is very hard. Some people have had sexual traumas, very very terrible. Some people have had physical abuse. Some people have had emotional abuse in their lives, and it's a baggage that they are still bringing on into their relationship, their marriage. And if you do not have an understanding of what they have gone through, you would not know why they behave the way they behave. Okay, so if they are still struggling with the impact of the traumatic experiences they've had in their lives, right? It could affect your marriage. It could affect your lives as a couple, okay? And it could even affect your sexual life also. But if you have an understanding or an idea of what they've gone through, could help you see them through a different lens. Okay. And you could also be able to encourage them to go for help, therapy, whatever it is, to go for. Yes, so you want to find out. And I know that talking about sexual traumatic experiences, it could be very sensitive. So all of those questions you're asking, make sure that you're asking them not just anytime. Find good times, when the person is in a good mood, not when the person is exhausted or the person is tired or when you are upset about things. Find good times, to have this conversation. And when you're having this conversation, it's not like you're interviewing the person like an interview room, just having a chat on a light note. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I can see yes, I'm blessed. God bless you. Yeah, on a light note, you want to get to know the person more, and it's very helpful when people are going through stress, especially if people have gone through traumatic experience in their lives. You want to acknowledge the hurts that they've gone through, okay, and try and be there for them as much as you can. All right, so the sixth question, no, the fifth question, number 5, is, do you want to have children? Do you want to have children? And some people may say, of course, everybody wants to have a child. No, that's not true. Not everybody wants to have children. Okay, not everyone wants to have children. So you want to find out if the person wants to have children, because if you want to have children and the other person is not interested in having children, then you're in trouble. Right? So don't get married to somebody who doesn't want what you want, basically. If they want to have children, that's fine. Thumbs up to you guys. So both of you are in it to have children. How many children do you want to have? Okay. How many? Some people may want to have 6. Some people may want to have 2. Some people may want to have 1. I remember before I got married, I wanted to have boys. Sorry, I wanted to have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. I don't know what I was thinking of, but by the time I got married, I realized, and I had 1 child. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's not easy to have children, man. I can only do 2. And thank God my husband was in agreement with us. Like, me and him were like, okay, 2. End of story, finish. So people that are thinking that let me even go there. The point is, find out if you want to have children, okay, and how many you want to have. And what if you don't have the children don't come on time? What if you cannot have children? What's going to happen? You want to ask, what if for any reason both of you cannot have children? What's going to happen? Is the guy going to go and impregnate another woman? Is he going to go and have to marry? Would he go and marry another woman? You want to know, what if she cannot have children? Are you going to go and look for someone who will impregnate you? You want to know, what do they think about medical procedures? There are so many procedures now to assist with pregnancy, to assist with conception. Is the person open to this idea? Or is the person like, no, if God cannot give us children, if we cannot have it naturally, then we're not having it. That's it. What do they think about that? You want to find out. Okay? You want to know what the person believes. What do they think about contraception? Some people don't believe in contraception. Okay? You want to be sure that the person believes what you believe. These are critical questions to ask. And these questions might sound very trivial, but when reality sets in and you are faced with that situation, you realize how minute question could be that was not asked could actually escalate and degenerate into something extremely significant that could tear down a marriage. And so, to avoid this, it's important to ask these questions. All right. So, ask, do they want to have children? Very important. If you haven't liked, you haven't shared this post, you haven't commented, please, it's important that you leave a comment. Thank you, Momo Monica. I see that you are indeed a blessing. Doctor, the Lord continue to bless you. Amen and amen. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. God bless you. Thank you so very much for that prayer. Thank you so much. So like, share, comment, and please leave a comment. Okay. Like, share, and comment on this video. All right. So the sixth question you want to ask the person is, who are you accountable to? Who are you accountable to? Hmm. There's so many people today who are accountable to nobody. Nobody can call them to order. Nobody can correct them. Nobody can challenge them. Nobody can caution them. They live a life of independence, of a carefree life, a nonchalant life, a life of I can do whatever I want to do and I don't give a damn. I don't care. If you get married to somebody like that, that's trouble. That is trouble. If you get married to somebody who is accountable to no one, you get yourself in big, big trouble. Because let me tell you something about marriage. See, when you're getting into marriage, no matter how spiritual you are, there is no marriage that doesn't face storms. There is no marriage that doesn't go through trials. There's no marriage that doesn't go through tribulations. The Bible even says that in this world you will have tribulation. But there's something that's encouraged me. It says, be of good cheer because I have overcome the world. All right. And so where sometimes our brain, to touch, it could be my brain, it could be my spouse's brain, my husband's brain. Who would be able to call your spouse to order at those times? Because we are humans, we'll make mistakes, we'll be at fault. Our ego might come into play, our pride might come into play. But at those times, who can call that person to order? See, I've heard lots of stories of people who are married to husbands, to wives who are not accountable to anybody. So you have a husband that is maltreating you, for example, and you have done all you can, to no solution. Unfortunately, there is nobody that can speak to this husband, not even his parents. Nobody can call him to order. Nobody can call her to order. Do not marry that kind of person. You should have like a mentor or a pastor or somebody in your life who you know that if that person should hear that you are misbehaving in any way, that person can correct you. That person can say, no, Blessing, you cannot behave like that. You cannot treat your husband like that. You cannot treat your wife like that. You must not treat your wife like that. Who is that person in your life? And I'm asking you because don't expect someone to be accountable to somebody, whereas you are accountable to no one. Who are you accountable to? Who is it that you're accountable to as a person? Please do not marry somebody who is accountable to no one, because then you're getting yourself into big, big trouble. All right? We're running out of time. The seventh one is you need to ask the person, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years from now? And there was a story of a lady who her father asked her fiance this question. Okay, she had taken she had taken her fiance to meet her father, right? And her father had a chat with this gentleman, one on one. Father, like a father to intending son chat. And he asked this gentleman, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years from now? And this guy went on and on talking about how, he's going to do this, going to do that, going to do that, going to, confidently. And after he said everything, he called his daughter aside. He said, look here, my advice for you is do not marry this man because he has no plan for you in his future. The father was able to realize that there was no plan. He couldn't picture his daughter. That man couldn't picture his daughter, or in his future. In everything that is mentioned, it was just about him, 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 him. There was no her. And true to it, a few years down the line, this guy and this lady divorced because of the same issue that her father had noticed a while ago. So see, when you ask a person, what's your where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years from now? They talk about their dreams. They talk about their goals. They talk about their aspirations. They talk about their purpose. While they speak, pay attention to all they are saying. Don't just listen to their words. Listen to their body language. Listen to how they are saying what they are saying. So you're not just about the answers, yes, no, or yeah, no, not about the glamour of the answers. Pay attention to how is it that they are saying what they are saying. Do they really mean what they are saying? In terms of purpose fulfillment, how do they intend to fulfill that God's purpose for their lives? Do they see you as a helpmate, as either you're supposed to be a wife or will be a wife? Do they see you as a helpmate, a suitable helpmate? Can you see yourself supporting this guy? Do you think you have the capacity to support him? Are you interested in what he's interested in? Do you, if he says, "Oh, I see myself pastoring a big church in 5 to 10 years from now," do you see yourself becoming a pastor's wife? Do you see yourself? Are you interested in it? There was a story of a guy who had God's come upon his life, and if he realized he was supposed to be a pastor after he had gotten married. Unfortunately, his wife, the woman that he married, doesn't had wanted to have nothing to do with being a pastor's wife. She didn't want to even be associated with anything pastor, and as a result of that, she divorced this man. So this is why it is important to discover your purpose for life before you discover your partner for life. It's very, very important. Thank you, Michelle. Elupo. Thank you so much. God bless you too. All right. It's important to discover. I want you to type it in the comment section. Discover your purpose for life before you discover your partner for life. Somebody type that in the comment section. Discover your purpose for life before you discover your partner for life. Also, when you are asking these questions about, you want to hear about their career plan. You want to find out as a lady, does this man want, does he want to have a housewife as a lady? After all your wonderful qualifications, your BSc, your masters, your PhD, at the end of the day, would he say to you, you know what? Forget about that. I've got you covered. I want you to sit at home and look after my children. Are you ready for that? These are important conversations that you need to have with your intended spouse. Yes, because, thank you, Miriam, because it could happen. I'll tell you something. When I was going to get married to my husband, one of the questions I asked him was, what do you, how did I ask him the question? I wanted to find out if he wanted to have a housewife, as a wife. Would he want his wife to be a housewife? So I asked him about whether he wanted his wife to be a housewife or a career woman. That was what I asked him. And his answer was very interesting. He said, whatever it is that my wife wants to do, I'm going to support her. Because I knew, and that's why it's important to know what you want to do with your own life. Because if you don't know what you want to do with your own life, then you would not know the right questions to ask the other person. Okay, right. So I knew that I wanted to be able to practice medicine as a doctor. I knew that I didn't want to become a housewife. Okay, it's brilliant for those who are housewives, who are doing a really, really great job. It's not easy. Okay, but I didn't want to be a sit-at-home mom. I wanted to be someone who would be able to help people out there in my community as a doctor. And so I had to ask the question because I didn't want stories that touch the heart when I eventually get married. And so it's important to ask this question. Okay, right. So you want to be sure that the person that you are getting married to, appreciates you and accepts you and is not intimidated by what you have or who you are. There was a story of a woman who was a practicing medical doctor in the US. And her husband was earning half of her salary. And guess what? By the time they got married, this man told her to stop working and to sit at home. She was heartbroken. It's important to ask those questions. Okay? Women, do not marry a man that is not confident in himself, that has a low self-esteem, okay, that derives his ego by, putting you under. No, that kind of man is not meant for you. Okay, marry a man who sees you as a great support. I mean, you're earning so much. Yes, that's awesome. What can I do to make you even earn even more? That's the kind of man you want to get married. A man that would push you up, a man that would inspire you, a man that would encourage you. Okay, we need to move on. We need to finish now. Now, the last question, okay? The eighth question that you need to ask before we talk about the eighth question. This book is a book that you need to get. It's a book that everybody needs to get, okay? It's my best-selling book so far. People are buying it like hotcake. So please go and get your copy, okay? Are we compatible? 65 important questions to ask before you get married. This book is very, very helpful. All the questions I'm sharing to you, 8 out of the 65 questions I'm sharing today, okay? You'll find this book on Amazon, you'll find it on Seller, and you'll find it on Okada Books, okay? Ebook, hard copies available on Amazon also. Right. So you want to find out the last question. Do you have any medical problems? Do you have any medical problems? Take that question very seriously. I know this is quite a sensitive question. I mean, people try to hide this because they feel that if you end up knowing about the struggle that I'm having, then I may lose you. You may walk out of my life, and so they bottle this thing up in order not to lose the person that wants to get married to them. But guess what? I mean, I get that you want to, you don't want to share because you don't want to lose the person. But at the end of the day, if you deny that person that information who wants to get married to you, you know, it ends up you end up breaking the trust that that person has in you. And eventually it could lead to divorce. So you may end up even losing the person at the end of the day. All right. Anybody who truly, truly loves you will stay with you no matter what. Right. So whatever it is that you're going through, maybe you have a history of high blood pressure, maybe hypertension, diabetes, asthma, whatever physical problem you have. It could even be that, for example, you have had abortions in the past, right? And you no longer have the ability to be able to conceive. You need to be able to divulge that information if that person wants to marry you. That's the reality. Okay, if that person is going to marry you, it's heartbreaking for you to deceive somebody. It is wrong for you to deceive somebody knowing that you don't have the ability to have children, whether you have low sperm count or you have no womb or whatever it is. For you to go ahead and get married to somebody, for the rest, tie that person to, down to you, when you have that, form of disability whatsoever it is. Okay, so it's important for you to disclose this medical problems that you have. Okay, very, very important. The other thing is, do you have a mental health challenge? Okay, I know that is something that many people do not want to talk about or would not want to share because of the stigma that is associated with it. So whatever mental health problem that you have, it's important that you tell your spouse, your intended spouse. They will know how to be able to support you. You don't want to begin to prepare for marriage, for example. Let's say you have a psychotic disorder, right? You don't want to begin to prepare for marriage, and then you have a breakdown because of the stress that you're going through, and that person is shocked that, oh my goodness, so you have this kind of behavior, problem. No, you don't want to go into that, or a person is surprised in marriage when you have a breakdown, a mental breakdown as a result of your history. So you want to be able to talk about those things, and anyone who you are planning to get married to, you want to be vulnerable with the person, to share some of this information with the person, right? So you also want to find out, does the person have a family issue of any problems, any mental problems, or physical health problems? Because realize that some of those things are passed on, from father to mother to children. So you're going to be having children also. So chances are your children will probably inherit some of those genes. They will be predisposed to coming out with those illnesses. It's possible, okay? But you want to have that at the back of your mind. You don't want to go into marriage being ignorant, okay, of all of these things, right? So these are the 8 critical questions that I want you, or I would encourage you to ask your intended spouse before you do get married. Okay. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that you have been blessed by it. If you have gained something, I want you to say in the comment section, what it is that you have learned from today's session, how it's been of help to you. Please let me know. And while you're doing that, I'll also encourage you to please share this video. You never know who is going to need it. Share the video on your timeline, wherever you're watching from. If you're watching on YouTube, please share to your friends. Share the link also, with your friends. If you're watching on Instagram, share. So I'm really, really happy that I was able to come and share this with you today. If you have not joined my Facebook group yet, Relationship and Health Matters with Dudu Shewa, please join the group, okay? Relationship and Health Matters with Dudu Shewa. We're about 7,000, 6,900 plus. So please, let's hit 7,000, okay? Please join the group. All right, you can follow me on Facebook if you're not following me yet on Facebook. If you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Relationship and Health Matters with Dudu Shewa. So I've made it easy for you. It's the same across board, okay? That's my YouTube channel, Relationship and Health Matters with Dudu Shewa. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and find time to watch some of the videos on that channel, because they are going to bless your life. Okay, so this is my book again. Okay, I've got other books that I think will be really helpful for you. Okay, I've got one on relationship red flags, 10 signs that you're in the wrong relationship. Okay, that's also available on Amazon, on Seller, and on Okada Books. All right, and some of my other books are all over. I'm gonna leave a link in the comments to let you know where you can find all my other books. All right, so thank you for joining me today. God bless you plenty. It's my prayer that you would have a beautiful marriage. You would not miss it in the mighty name of Jesus. And if you're watching me, you're struggling with your marriage, you feel like you have made a mistake, or you feel like you are stuck, it's my prayer that God would send help your way. God would help you. God would help that crisis to become something that will be solved in the name of just whatever it is. I also want to encourage you to get help. Seek help. It could be help from a marriage counselor, it could be help from your pastor. Please do not die in silence. Do not die in silence. Very, very important. Get the help that you need. Okay, and I pray that God would provide a solution, grant you a solution. Okay, it's important that you enjoy a blissful marriage. That's God's plan for marriage anyways. All right, so thank you. God bless you all, and see you again some other time. Bye.